Hey there, respawners. Today I am doing a part two for the everything you need to know about settlements video that I did previously. If you haven't watched that, I have it linked down in the description. Go check it out. Got a ton of information in there. Um, just today, the new 3.63 update has been released, and it fixes a ton of stuff with settlements. I'm not going to go over that in this particular video. If you want to know more, I'll have the patch notes linked in the description below as well. But let's get right on to some tips for settlements. So the first tip that I have is actually before you even find a settlement, the very first thing you want to do is put a save point down. The reason for this is so that you can create a manual save. That way, if you come across a settlement that you don't want or don't like, or you don't want it in that particular planet, or anything like that, you can just reload your manual save and there's no issues. So for the next tip is how to get a settlement on whatever planet you want that settlement to be on. So you can see right here, I am on a like lush slash paradise type planet. Got the star bulb, it's got all the good stuff. So I want a settlement here so I don't have to deal with environmental hazards. So just like the first tip, make sure you create a manual save. That way, if you don't get the settlement here, you can just reload that save. Then just plot a route on one of the charts and then kind of see where this goes. As you can see, I got the settlement on this paradise planet, which is exactly what we want. Now, do not make another manual save until you know you want to keep that settlement. The reason is because if you make another manual save, you're stuck with that settlement. So don't do that. So the next tip that I have is really kind of only for your very first settlement you get on that save file. The very first settlement, whether it's you get through a mission or you get through the planetary charts, this one doesn't cost you anything. This one, you're essentially replacing the overseer that's there. Any other settlements you go to after this, you have to use whatever race's special items, like a Viking dagger or Geknip or Korvax convergence cubes, things like that. As you can see, this settlement is a Class B settlement, and I found that the class is actually related to the happiness level of the settlement. So the happier your settlers are, the higher the class is going to be. This particular one, for me, is I don't think this is a really good settlement because it already has a productivity that's severely less than the maintenance cost for it, but it also has a 60 citizen population and it has a 24% sentinel alert. Like this one is not the best one to start off with. So what I will do in this case is actually reload my manual save and try again. So one thing you want to look out for when finding a settlement is you want to look for the productivity versus maintenance cost. You want to try to find a settlement that has a higher productivity than its maintenance cost, but that's going to be more difficult to come across. This particular settlement, I found it had 122,000 productivity with 135,000 maintenance cost. So that's a really good find. That's the kind of stuff you want to look for. It's at 153,000 right now because I made one decision after I got this settlement. I had a choice to build like a landing pad and something else. I chose the landing pad because it would give me more money. But because of that, now it's in the positive, and you can see in 8 real-time hours from now, this settlement will actually be productive, and I'll be able to start getting items from it. So that's the one thing that you want to do is the very first thing you want to do is make sure you get your productivity higher than your maintenance costs. That's the most important thing at the beginning. So here's another really big tip right here. If you ever come across a situation like this where one of the choices gives you an unknown outcome that could be really good, could be really bad, there's no way of knowing. However, you can save scum it. So all you need to do before making a decision is make sure you put a save point outside and do a manual save. Now, once that manual save is done, then you can go back in and see what that outcome happens to be. So let's check out what this unknown outcome is and see if it's going to be better than the minus 8,000 settlement debt. So this gave us a feature called Atmosphere of Suspicion. So if we check this out, go to View Settlement Status, Atmosphere of suspicion reduces citizen happiness. So that's not good. So definitely don't want that. So the best thing to do now is to actually go back and reload that save. Now that my save's reloaded, I'm going to go back in and I'm going to make the other decision. Because I know that that unknown outcome is not going to be good for me. So let's find this guy. So now we'll have $8,000 taken off of our settlement debt, which should, yeah, right there it says it's got 97,000. So it did increase the timer until it's cleared. Every decision that you make changes how long until something happens. So something like that, it increased the timer from 8 hours to 20 hours now. So that's just one thing you want to kind of look out for. So if you want your settlements to look a certain way, there is some minimal things you can do about that. As you can see here, this is a stone settlement. All of the buildings are made out of the new stone materials. And this happens to be in a Vy'keen system. So any Vy'keen system you go to will have these stone buildings. Right here you have one of the Gek settlements, and you can see that it uses the new timber building pieces, which I really like the look of the timber over the stone, but you know, it's all about preference. So this is a Korvax settlement. You can see that they have the alloy building pieces is what they use. So it really just depends on what you're kind of going for, what settlement you would like to have. So whether you want timber or stone or alloy, you want to go for that race's system. That way you can get the look of the settlement that you're wanting. So I just got a citizen request, and these are really, really good. They can do all sorts of things like this one right here. If I endorse the event right here, it's like some kind of festival, it looks like, then the citizens, you know, get 5% happier. And yes, I go in debt, but if I deny it, then it's minus 2% happiness. And a really key tip that I found is probably the best way to run a settlement is once your settlement is productive, focus on happiness, because the happier your citizens are, the higher the class will be, and I think the better products that you'll be getting through the production. So I would highly suggest focusing on happiness after your productivity is higher than your maintenance cost. And that is even more tips on running settlements here in No Man's Sky. If you enjoyed this video, click that like button. And if you're not subscribed, please consider doing so, as it helps me out an absolute ton and it lets me make more videos like this for you guys. Thanks for watching.